Welcome, everybody, to the H3 podcast. Today we have Steve-O, beloved by all, one of the most cherished and wonderful people on this planet, and we have a fantastic conversation with him. Before we get into that, I quickly want to thank our sponsor, ExpressVPN, and let you guys know that there is a new September release at teddyfresh.com. Let me briefly show you what we've got out. New color block hoodies. Boom. We've got this one. Here, let me zoom in a little bit for you. Not a very high-res photo, but you get the idea. This one's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. New color blocks. New felt hats. I love this hat. I lost mine. I need Ela to bring me new ones. But, man, it's such a nice hat. New Ela Klein original. Her marker drawing. This is what I'm wearing now. It's awesome. Shorts. Grandpa jacket. This is everyone's favorite piece. My grandpa died, and all he left me was this jacket. Passed away and left me all this jacket. Excuse me. Anyway, really nice jacket. God bless. And then we've got some striped shirts and all kinds of colors. This is my brainchild, of course, which is a skeleton burning violently and then the lyrics to Friends on the bottom. So no one told you life was going to be this way. I mean, come on. Who wouldn't want that? That's my favorite piece. I mean, I made it, so maybe a little bit of a bias. Teddy Fresh crayon shirts, puffy paint, yada, yada, yada. Just head on over to teddyfresh.com, peep out the new collection, and hopefully pick something up if you like it, all right? With that being said, let's jump right in to Steve-O. Today, your host, the Fresh Prince of Dead Air, brings you one of our maybe most cherished guests of all time, Steve-O, a man who needs no introduction at all, is with us here via the power of Zoom. And I do want to tell you, Steve-O, before we get into any conversation at all, Ian, can you please pull up Steve-O's wiki feet page? So it's customary here on the H2 podcast to rate our guests' wiki feet. Are you aware of wiki feet?
Oh, wow, dude. I've heard about this. It's like a foot fetish thing, huh?
Yeah, and actually, I have to give it up to you, my dude. You have a pretty solid rating.
Nice.
A 4.53, so that's definitely something to be proud of there.
It's crazy because on my podcast, which is, of course, called Wild Ride with Steve-O, I'm always barefoot, and I always get fucking comments about, dude, wash your feet. Your fucking feet are disgusting. Oh, okay, so that's like, it's my disgusting, unclean feet, which are responsible for my high rating, huh?
Oh, that's going straight on wiki feet. Give me that in the middle.
Yeah.
Wow, I think you just lost some points.
Oh yeah, I don't know, dude. Maybe my other foot, maybe the other foot will bring it up. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like,
so Steve-O, I watched your new comedy special, Gnarly.
Rad, thank you, man.
It was horrific and beautiful all at once. It's on steveo.com for $10. Apparently, no streaming service would pick it up because it was just so obscene. Is that right?
Basically, yeah. It has got a lot of dicks. Well, it has just my dick. It's got a lot of my dick. It's got a lot of heavy drugs, a lot of criminal activity, grievous bodily harm. I really get fucked up. So between those things, it was tough to get it anywhere. And then, frankly, with the platforms that, I think could have put it out, like Netflix, probably HBO and Showtime. I think that would be about it. And their position, I think, was that viewing Steve-O as a crossover stand-up comedian, not a pure lifelong stand-up comedian, that I'm not prestigious enough to give a stand-up comedy special to. And that absolutely drove me nuts, man. That drove me nuts because what I did with it, like, I don't think it's ever been done before to have fully multimedia stand-up comedy with because most comedians, I think their stories that they're telling aren't true to begin with, and in my case, not only are they true, but I've got the footage to like really illustrate the stories. And fuck, man, I just thought that between having the multimedia component and bringing the whole cast of Jackass together to do such awesome shit for it, that it was a no-brainer, a slam dunk. And like you said, I couldn't fucking sell it, man.
So was there anybody? Was anyone interested in? They're like, okay, we can do this, but you have to remove all the dicks and the gore and all this shit, or was it all just passed?
I never would have edited anything out, but it didn't come to that. Yeah, it didn't come to that, and I mean, honestly, I felt like Dr. Dre when I was watching his Defiant Ones series on HBO. He said that they had the Chronic, and he brought it to all the record labels, and they all passed on it. And he's like, I knew it was fucking great. I think that's maybe why he started Aftermath Records, And I was like just so fucking pissed that I couldn't sell it. I thought it was just like such a slam dunk, millions of dollars. And I ended up putting it out on my own website, which in hindsight might have been fucking awesome too. It might have been completely rad because, and I'll tell you the business of it, I spent just to shoot the fucking thing like a $250,000 easy. Just the night in the theater, I forget what was it, 120, 170 or something, but I shot so many different things like to build into it, like that opening sequence, which I'm so stoked that when I was with you, we recorded the podcast last time, I told you, I was like, man, they're going to duct tape me to a side of a truck and I'm going to drive to Vegas, and we ended up doing it in Denver. So the opening sequence, you see me riding duct tape to the side of this truck all the way to Denver. And that plus all the other, special scenes we shot for it, it was a fucking $250,000 by the time I filmed it.
Easy. And I figured it would have cost more than that. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Oh, and well, then getting it out on my website took it like over $300,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because there was a lot in like promotion, hiring the publicist with the mixing, and then I bought the fucking billboard to promote it with, right with the Hollywood sign in the background. And then I fucking hired two cranes. I had a fucking construction team with 2 cranes and got me all up on the fucking billboard. So yeah, it was a lot, but thankfully I made my money back.
Yeah,
and some.
Good.
Like,
thank God.
like I checked it last night, and with like having spent $300,000, like I've brought in $523,000 so
there you
far.
Go.
So
so
I'm in the profit zone.
Thank God for that. Well, now it's all just money, and I think people, if they go over to Steve.com and watch Gnarly, they're gonna be very satisfied with their $10. This man nearly died for this shit.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that a lot. And my philosophy is that, I really think anybody who does stream it from stevo.com is going to be thoroughly happy with it. Because this project just marries all of my worlds together into one, And it's like, not only am I not fucking any wiser or like I'm doing dumber shit than ever.
Yeah.
like,
you know what, I was like, man, I was just wondering, like, when is he gonna get too old for this shit? Because your body cannot be getting stronger or more durable as you age, and the shit that you're doing in this is crazier than anything you've done.
Right.
At what point are you just gonna have to call it a day on this stuff?
Dude, I've got the next depending on when the world opens back up, so to speak. I've got the next project fucking done. Like the follow up to Gnarly is fucking finished, man. And I've been touring with it because
really?
I'm so fucking pissed about this, dude. I taped the Gnarly special in January of 2018. So it didn't come out until I'd been fucking sitting on it for 2.5 years. And when I failed to get anybody to fucking buy it, and which drives me fucking crazy just to say that, but like, I didn't get discouraged and say like, oh, okay, I'm gonna fucking, just hang it up, whatever, nobody was interested. Fuck that. I doubled down, dude. I doubled down, and I knew exactly what the follow-up to Gnarly was gonna be, because the thing about Gnarly, there's all this storytelling, and then each bit in the act inspires like a crazy new stunt. And I was just excited about making the follow-up like no more fucking memory lane bullshit, like 100% brand new, like over the top stuff. And then the question of what to do next, like I already had the answer, because like for all of these last 20 years since Jackass started, there's been like a handful of ideas that I had and just never fucking thought I was gonna do them. Like they were just like the go-to. Like, oh, skydiving, like only if I'm butt naked with the tandem instructor strapped to my back and I'm furiously jacking off and I time it so I fall out of the airplane while I'm coming everywhere.
That's disgusting, bro.
Yeah, it's called skyjacking. That's the closer for the bucket list. That's what this new one is called, the bucket list. And like I had, for decades, I had the idea to get a vasectomy, and right after I get the vasectomy, go like get on a horse, bareback horseback riding, bouncing up and down on my balls, and like, and like dressed up as a piñata with all the kids hitting me in the balls with a stick. They're the vasectomy Olympics.
So did you do that?
Oh yeah.
So
dude,
you're all
I had
snipped
another
up now.
All snipped
No
up,
kids.
dude. No kids, man.
Because I know you got engaged at the end of the special. Congratulations. Right. I mean, it's really beautiful. Seems like a really beautiful, wholesome relationship. I knew she was special when she encouraged you to eat your burned, dead skin. So that was a really touching moment in Gnarly.
Yeah, dude. Thank you, man. Yeah, she's definitely the one. And
there was another moment, if I can interject, when she injected hot sauce into your asshole. I thought that was a really beautiful. I realized you guys were kindred spirits then as well.
Yeah, for sure, man. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, she never wanted kids. I don't want kids. It's fuck it, dude. Dogs. We're all about animals.
Yeah, dogs are great.
We have 4 dogs. We have 2 cats. We've got 3 goats. Like all right here at our house.
I wanted to ask you about your animal rights advocacy, because it's always been something that stood out to me as interesting. You've lived such a crazy life. What is it about animals? I mean, of all the causes you could take up in the world, why is it that you're so passionate about animal rights?
I think I can distill this down to a pretty bite-sized timeline. When I was at Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Clown College, I think it's pretty well known that my career began as a circus clown. And when I was in clown college, the public relations department for the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus paid us a visit, and they said, some of you are going to be working for the greatest show on earth, the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus, and what that's going to entail is arriving in the city like a week in advance of the circus to do interviews, to promote, and when you're doing these interviews, some people are going to ask you about animal abuse, like with the elephants, all the tigers, everything in the circus. And if and when you get asked about animal abuse, you shut the fuck up. You have no opinion. You're a fucking clown. You fall down. You don't say anything. Like that's how I remember them kind of coming at us. And I thought, well, shit, the way that they're approaching this with us seems like it's really fucking shady, So if I could point to a moment where animal abuse and animal rights like first occurred to me Because I never even thought of it before that. And I thought, man, maybe the circus is fucked up. Then I went on to work in the circus. And not the Ringling Circus, but I worked in another circus that had 3 elephants and a tiger. And dude, the fucking circus owners were more terrified of their own elephants than anybody in the audience. The tiger went from its whole life from one box to another box, back and forth. And both boxes were like the fucking length of the tiger's body. I was kind of fucking upset about it, you know, like the elephants and I was like, fuck this. Then, you know, my last day working in the circus was my first day filming Jackass. It was just that, like, I washed off my clown makeup. I was with Knoxville, like they fucking filmed my last performance, and then I was off, you know, with Jackass after that. Once I had a platform, and I'm doing like talking to big audiences, I would bitch about the animals in the circus. I was like, fuck that, dude. I was in the circus, and fuck that, man. Those animals are abused. And so then, you know, when I went on one of my rants about the animal abuse in the circus, then the people from PETA reached out to me and said, hey, could we get you to say that for PETA? And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm an attention whore. You got a camera? I'm in. Right. And so I did that, and then I've never supported PETA on across the board because they've got some wacky views, man. I don't back everything that they're about. But what I did was just gradually, kind of bit by bit, on an issue by issue basis, I became more in. You know, I was like, you know, I don't fucking, I won't wear fur because I don't eat mink, was my first thing. They said, oh, cool, we'll do an anti-fur campaign. And and then when I was so out of control on drugs and hallucinating everywhere with all and that was one of the most popular things from our last podcast was the ghost stories, where I was talking about all the fucking crazy experience I had with spirit fucking ghost shit. And when I was like watching people walk around and walk through walls and all this shit, I was like so in love with the experience of it. And I was so interested to learn about like what the fuck was going on with the spirit world. And so there I am with all my drugs, piles of fucking coke and nitrous, all this crazy shit. And I'm researching spirit world, like watching YouTube videos. And I saw this fucking like Hare Krishna guy from India or something. And he's this wise guru, man. And he says, how can you expect to be saved if you eat meat? You know, and he was just like, you know, and I was like, right there, I was like, boom, fuck, I want to be saved, so, you know, so that was where I stopped eating meat, except for fish, and it just came more and more, you know, the more, when I got sober, like, if I could make decisions based on kind of just being compassionate, then that helped build up my self-esteem, you know, like, I had it pretty low, where I was, you know, just kind of, you know, my life was not good, and I built myself back up by making decisions that I could be proud of, and a lot of that was just turning my attention to animals.
Why is it that fish always get the exception? I always wondered that.
Me too, man. That was when I first decided, but I'm going to keep eating fish. It was because I said, well, eating fish has to be cool because fucking Jesus was a fisherman. You know, I no longer believe that Jesus had fucking anything to do with fish or fishermen or fishing. But I gotta say that I went back to eating fish. I was vegan for, I was vegan for years. And then I went back to eating fish for a couple of reasons. Number one, I think it's good for me. Number two, I've got all these animals that I can't feed a vegan diet, you know, and so giving fish to that's all my, you know, the dog food, the cat food. I limit it at fish. And I'm like, what am I going to feed the fucking fish to my pets and not eat it myself? I think it's good for me. And so
it is good for you, yeah. I find that a lot of vegetarians there's this one, like Kurt Cobain line. He says it's okay to eat fish because they don't have any feelings, you know?
That's not true. They did.
Yeah.
They totally have feelings. They totally have feelings. They totally have...
Yeah.
They have families. They have fucking like, emotions. I believe all that. But what helps me a little bit is that the most horrifying of all is factory farming.
Right.
It's just factory farming with the eggs and all the chicken, just the conditions that they have animals living in farms is awful. Yeah. And with wild caught fish, in my view, that fish had a great life, just roaming around, swimming in the ocean, and then it got fucking caught and it, it had its death. Everything dies. But, I think death is pretty easy in the grand scheme of things. It's going to happen anyway. It's how you live that's important. And I like to think, even if it's naive, that the fish that I eat had a good life swimming around,
Yeah. I think that's a fair observation. Is a guy like you afraid of death, I wonder? Because you skirt by it. Yeah.
No.
Are you really, though? Are you really, like, totally unafraid of death? I mean...
I'm afraid of suffering.
Yeah.
And I think I think the actual being dead has to be okay. Otherwise, we're really fucked,
Yeah.
I can't subscribe to an idea that being dead is a bad thing. Being dead is not. Sure. Death itself, I'm not worried about. It's like the idea of prolonged pain and suffering.
Yeah.
And even more than that, I think what's terrifying is I'm not going to be here anymore. You asked a big question. And mortality is. It's not necessarily, I'm going to be dead, but like I'm not going to be here anymore. Like we have as humans, we have only one instinct, which is to survive.
Right.
And we have only one guarantee: we won't survive. Mm-hmm. So wait a second, hold on here. The one fucking thing that matters to us above all else. The one fucking thing we're trying to avoid is the only thing that we can be sure of. So this is like some kind of a fucking catch-22 prank on us. What the fuck is this human experience but a fucking awful joke where the one thing we're passionate about is the only fucking... It's fucked.
The inevitability, yeah.
Right. So I view that as... really the big picture of the human experience is to, one way or another, wrap your head around your mortality, to come to terms with, okay, I'm going to die, and how's that okay? And I think that there are three ways that people typically have done it throughout history. Number one being to reproduce. There's this idea that, I'll be gone, but my legacy will live on. I'm going to have children who keep me alive, And we've covered that. I don't fucking want to reproduce, Right. So that doesn't work for me. Right. I think the other way people wrap their head around death is religion, where they subscribe to some sort of fairy tale notion that, if they do X, Y, or Z, that they're going to be in heaven and everything. So that's, I'm going to be dead, but I'll be in heaven. And the idea of a heaven, which is exclusive to people who subscribe to one absurd belief, is fucking just pisses me off, man. I grew up with people of all faiths. And if they're not all welcome in heaven, then fuck it, I don't want to go. It's just religion. I've always had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, so that's not my gig. And then the third way that we sort of come to terms with death, I like the fucking caveman scrawling the fucking stick figures on the cave wall because they know they're gonna be dead, but their fucking stick figures will outlive them. Mm-hmm. Now that's me. 100%. That's me. That's where I turned to the video camera. As a failing college student, I was like, dude, I'm going to fail at life because I can't keep a job and I can't fucking go to class. I can't survive. But before I fucking die, man, I'm going to load up my message into the bottle. I'm going to fucking videotape crazy shit, and those videos are going to live on. So when I'm dead, it'll be cool because I'll still be alive with the fucking immortality of the video.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
This is kind of like a broad question, but you ever think about how you ended up the way you are? You know what I mean?
Oh, I know exactly.
At a young age, you were like already living way too fast and too hard, you know, with the clown college and the drug use, and just like you just said yourself, you didn't plan, I don't think, to live very long.
I didn't expect to see the age of 30. I never, you know, and from when I was 8, I don't think I had the idea I was gonna be dead young.
So, did you have like childhood trauma?
Sort of. This is real simple, because like my mom's side of the family is 100% alcoholic. Like it's alcohol, drugs, gambling, suicide. Like this is just every leaf on the tree. You know, like my mom, her brother, and her sister. There were 3 siblings, all dead from alcoholism. 100%. You know, cirrhosis, like whatever, all the way up as far as anybody can remember. Every single person died of alcoholism, suicide, like, you know, whatever. So there's this kind of deviance. Of course, with that said, my mom was the smart one. My mom was the funny one. My mom was the one with the personality. But then my dad's side of the family was 100% theologians, zoologists, fucking clergymen, you know, like decorated academics, like super decorated academics. And my dad was sort of the black sheep of the family for going into business. You know, they were like, nobody ever on my dad's side of the family made a lot of money, but they were just respected, fucking good ass people. And my dad was this hustler. You know, he fucking top of his class. He went on to become the president of Pepsi Cola in all of Brazil, the president of Nabisco. Like, I grew up in a privileged ass upbringing, and it's like I'm a hybrid of these 2 family trees. You know, it's like I've got my dad's drive, my dad's fucking hustle, and that's the engine for my mom's deviance. You know, I'm just this fucking alcoholic deviant just with hustle.
So did your mom kind of, what was it like growing up with your mom? Was there moments where you kind of saw either that dark side of her, or like she kind of...
Oh, yeah.
Did she abuse you?
No. There wasn't any abuse, but I was born in England, and my family moved to Brazil when I was just 6 months old. So that was because Dad got the job of president of Pepsi Cola in all of Brazil. And they were balling, dude. Shit was popping off, man. Like, when you're living in Brazil and you have like this kind of status... Like, the cost of living was cheap as fuck. So if you're making any kind of real money living in Brazil, you're balling. And they were like balling. So they had live-in maids, which, essentially raised me. You know, like I actually spoke my first words in Portuguese because the only people fucking paying attention to me were the live-in maids who spoke Portuguese. So it's not like hard to imagine, you know, how I became such a fucking attention whore, because Mom and Dad weren't paying any attention to me. And that's not because they were abusive or, you know, they were just balling and fucking partying and like didn't have time. So I think that there's a big component in that makes me like really overdeveloped my need for attention. And as such, I like to consider myself a world-class attention whore.
Yes, for sure. You've achieved a lot through that singular trait.
Yeah.
But so
I know. I stumbled onto a really great character defect.
Yeah, exactly. You've worked it to your advantage for sure. So was your mom working when you guys were in Brazil?
She wasn't. She went to nursing school, and I want to say that she dropped out of nursing school when she married my dad. And to my mom's credit, my dad, when they married, had not had like huge success. You know, my wife was not jumping on the bandwagon of my mom. Dad hadn't done shit yet, and he did it. He succeeded after marrying my mom, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, that is nice. Your dad was in your special. Do you hold
Yeah.
any grudges or resentments to your parents still as you?
No, 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 no. No, 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 not at all, not at all. And with my dad, it's so rad to me that my dad didn't jump on any bandwagons with me, just kind of figuring things out. Like, I had this crazy dad wasn't supportive of me dropping out of college. He was not fucking feeling clown college. He fucking hated every word I had to say about I'm gonna become a crazy famous stuntman. He fucking hated all of it. And to his credit, it was before I had ever even made a fucking penny being a dumbass asshole stuntman that my dad came to me and he said, "Hey, I got to tell you, I feel I've done a disservice to you by not supporting you in this career path that you're clearly committed to." And he said, "I feel like I've done a disservice, and I want you to know that sure, you didn't choose what I would have wanted you to do, but I see that you're committed. I just want you to be the best, and I've got your back." And I think a lot of fathers have had that talk with their kids. He
Not
said,
mine.
Oh, okay. My dad said that how his dad totally didn't support him going into business. I said he was the black
times
sheep.
change, huh?
Yeah,
funny.
he was
Don't you dare go into business school. Yeah.
Right. Don't. What, you're going to be a capitalist, greedy scumbag in a business suit? My dad was like, yeah. He's like, and his dad had the same talk with him.
I'm going to throw it to a quick break, and then when we come back, we will continue this conversation with Steve-O. When you use the bathroom, you always close the door behind you, right? You don't want random passerbyers looking in on you, so why would you let people look in on you when you go online? Using the internet without ExpressVPN is like going to the bathroom and not closing the door. Or in some stalls, they leave that little crack. That gives me a ton of anxiety. You ever meet eyes through the crack? I always do like this, when I'm taking a dump and there's that giant crack. Then somebody walks by and you catch their eye. That's fucked up, and ExpressVPN closes that crack for you. Did you know that your internet service provider like Comcast or Verizon knows every single website you visit, Ian? Did you know that, Ian? Yeah, be careful. And what's worse is they can sell this info to ad companies and tech giants who will use your data to target you. ExpressVPN puts a stop to this. It creates a secure, encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet so your online activity can't be seen by anyone. I use ExpressVPN on all my devices, and it works on everything. Phones, laptops, even routers. So everyone who shares your Wi-Fi can still be protected even if they don't have ExpressVPN. And the best part is using ExpressVPN is as easy as closing a bathroom door. You just fire up the app, you click one button, and bada boom, you're protected. ExpressVPN is the world's #1 rated VPN by CNET, Wired, The Verge, and countless others. So, if you're like me and you believe your online activity is your business, secure yourself by visiting expressvpn.com/H3 today. Use my exclusive link, expressvpn.com/H3, and you can get an extra 3 months for free. That's expressvpn.com/H3. Welcome back. Real quick, Zach, you had a question for Steve-O.
Yeah, I loved your new special, Steve-O, and I grew up a Jackass fan. When you put that condom full of weed in you, how did you not die from that? That was insane.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, well, again, thank you so much for watching it, dude. I love everything about that damn Gnarly special. And, the idea for the drug smuggling bit, where in the special I get arrested for international drug smuggling. It came from staying at this chick's house. There was a period when I first moved out to LA where Chris Pontius and I were both completely homeless. And we had this running competition to see who could stay homeless the longest, despite the fact that now we were earning enough money to be able to rent an apartment. You know, it was just this funny game that we were playing. And at a certain point, we were both staying at this girl's house. She was out of town. We were house sitting, taking care of her dog, which was this little 10-pound, like, fucking terrier, whatever. And so Chris and I come back from the bar with these two chicks. We're in this girl's place, and we both, in separate rooms, are humping these Danish chicks, right? They were both from Denmark. And as per usual, I had this little habit where I took off my soiled condom and, like, would tie it in a knot and, like, you know, I would, like, swirl it around, be like, woo, yeah, you know, and I would throw it, right? Like, so I did that in this girl's house. I threw my tied in a knot rubber through it, and then I'm whatever. At the time, I was smoking a cigarette, and I remember seeing the little 10-pound dog come running into the room, and it runs out of the room, and I'm like, oh, okay, you know, that's but then after I get done with my cigarette, I get up and I look on the ground. I'm like, where's the condom? Like, it's not here. And I'm thinking, oh no. So in my view, this is the worst, because the girl whose house we were staying at had a boyfriend, you know? And, like, if this dog picked up the condom and took it on, like, a little victory lap and dropped it somewhere else where the fucking boyfriend's gonna find it in her place, like, that's gonna be a problem. So I'm all kinds of fucking stressed out about it, and, like, and I can't find it anywhere. And then even worse, what if the dog swallowed the fucking thing and it gets tangled up in the dog's intestines or something, and, like, you know, the dog dies because it fucking gobbled my rubber. So I was, like, the rest of the time at this girl's house, I'm, like, walking the dog. I'm, like, you know, like, checking you know, when the dog poops. I forget how long it was. It wasn't too long. But I woke up from a crazy drug bender at, like, fucking 6 p.m. or something. And right next to the bed I was sleeping in is this piece of fucking dog poop, which just morphed into my rubber. You know, it was like half log and half yeah. And like I grabbed my camera and fucking I grabbed my camera and lifted it up by the ring of the rubber, and the rubber gets, like, all straightened out, and once it's fully straight, the piece of dog poo is just sticking out perpendicular in the middle, you know, and you can see the whole load of cum was intact in the, you know, after passing through the whole dog, the whole load was just perfectly intact in the rubber. And you know, I put it out on my first DVD, which I actually just uploaded into this video library at stevo.com. When you see the first Stevo Don't Try This at Home video and Career Ender, that's on there. But yeah, so I felt like, fuck, okay, thank God we figured that out. I got a cool piece of footage out of it. But I felt fucking bad. When my cum's coming out of that dog's asshole, it's not a lot different than the dog being sodomized by me. You know, just the cum's going in the other direction, you know? And I felt that I owed it to that dog somehow. And so I was like, okay, you know, if the dog can swallow a condom and have it come out all intact, then I should be able to as well. So that was the birth of the idea. What am I gonna do swallowing a condom? And then when I went on the Europe tour, I said, dude, I'm gonna load up a condom with fucking weed in one country and then fly to the next country and shit it out and smoke it. And so that was where the idea, but it turned into this crazy debacle because, like Zach said, fucking thing wouldn't come out. And I thought I was going to die because it was going to block up all of my shit, you know?
You stuffed a lot. I think you put a lot of weed in there.
A lot, I know, and I choked on it.
That thing down, man. Yeah.
I didn't even think I did. It was stuck in my throat, you know? Like, it was the most fucking scary thing. And then everyone was telling me that, like, you can get blockage in your intestines. And, like, you know, so I was really worried that I was going to die of intestinal strangulation. And I expressed these concerns to every media outlet that I talked to. That was just like, and they're not fucking cool about drugs in Sweden. They really aren't. So yeah, it came out in the newspaper that I had drugs in my body before the drugs were out of my body. and the cops fucking swooped in to fucking nail me for international drug smuggling. The whole story's crazy, and it's in the Gnarly special. So by all means, please go over to stevo.com and stream that motherfucker.
That's like the most square shit I ever heard. Like, apparently, there's so little going on in Sweden. The cops arrested you and then made you shit in a cup for a week to check for the weed.
Yeah, it wasn't a cup. It was a bag. It was a fucking a little. Yeah, it was a toilet that had like a bag set up in the bowl.
Oh, that's so. This isn't the first time they've dealt with this issue.
Right, I get it.
So the part that stands out to me from Gnarly is the jet fuel accident. You laid in jet fuel and got third-degree burns all over your body, and you didn't go to the hospital for like a week too. So everything was all infected and pussy. And then, of course, as I mentioned earlier, your fiance or now wife, is it?
We still haven't gotten married. Yeah. We're waiting to buy a big farm that we're going to get married on.
Oh, perfect. Fiance was encouraging you to, because your skin was just coming off and peels, and then you started eating it. How was that experience? I mean, you tossed it down real fast, but that technically makes you a cannibal, doesn't it?
It does, man. Like, what it was that the skin was just falling off my body wholesale. And as each patch came off, I threw them into the toilet. I threw it all, and then it just occurred to me, like, looking in the toilet at all this skin floating in there, I was just like, that is a sight to behold. You know, that's something that's pretty fucking remarkable. Right. I was like, okay, so I got my girl to film, and I scooped it out of the toilet, and then we had this whole conversation about it. I was like, I should not eat that. And she's like, quiet. I'm like, your silence is speaking volumes. You know, like, you want me to eat this. And she's like,
So does she not gag during that? Does she have a really strong stomach to be able to watch you do that?
It's so interesting how, like the workings of my girl's mind, like the things that she's perfectly comfortable with, like, are just outrageous. You know, like, she didn't gag. She was like totally supportive of, like, yeah, fucking eat your skin. That's great. You know. Oh, God. You know, like, she filmed me drinking the blister juice and had no problem with that.
I wanted to ask you about that. We'll work up into that.
And for anybody that's concerned that this might all be too gross, keep in mind I saved that for the end. You know, me getting third-degree burns all over my body and skin graft surgery and all of this stuff we're describing right now is the closer for the Gnarly specials.
After you eat your own flesh, and by the way, so you're like, there's a moment where their flesh is kind of peeling off, and you're jiggling it, and you can see there's like actually just liquid in there. Like, what is that liquid?
That liquid is the body's response to burns. You know, like, it was just blister juice. And I was just burned so fucking badly that I had not like blisters, but I had huge bags of blister juice.
You ever wish they'd bottle that stuff for you?
I don't wish they bottled it, but it is fascinating that you know, that's the body's response. That's why there is juice in the blister. It's your body's way of trying to cool it down. You know, like, your body sends out this liquid to just try to cool down the area. And when I drank it, as disgusting as it looked, like, you know, all yellow and fucking, you know, crazy looking, it honestly didn't taste like anything, man. It did not taste salty. It just tasted like water.
Bro, it didn't look like water.
And that shit was so gross. I saved that for like the fucking credits.
That was Well, you know, he takes a knife and punctures it, and then you fill up really a whole shot glass of it. And I was like, oh no.
I mean, I ended up with skin grafts on 15% of my body, and so all of that was like blisters just all over me. And the big bags, I think, just, I don't know. Yeah, it was fucking...
So you described the doctors being shocked that you didn't come into the hospital early. Do you think you would have died if you didn't go in? Because it seemed like...
I don't know. I don't know that I would have died, but God, that was the worst fucking pain I've ever experienced. And the saving grace of that is that by far the question I've been asked the most over the years is, what was the most painful stunt? You know, like what hurt the most? And the question, like, up until that point, that question was just like frustrating to me because there was no good answer. I would be like, first, like, frustrated that I got asked the question again, and then I would say, well, there are different criteria for pain. You know, there's the acuteness of the pain. Like, say for example, if you get tased, you know, like electricity, very acute, but it's quick. You know, the most important criteria to me is the duration of the pain. You know, like pain that lasts for like, you know, a week or 2 weeks is, you know, way more upsetting to me than, so there's all these different criteria. And then when I got the 3rd degree burns like that, it checked every fucking box, man, because the shit, like, I mean, even after I had the skin graft surgery for yet more weeks, it was fucking unbearable pain. You know, like on the level of acute pain, duration, like I went on a whole like tour of burn units after that. And I heard over and over that people who have been shot like with guns, and, you know, and or stabbed will all say that that's nothing compared to 3rd degree burns. Like universally, 3rd degree burns are known as the most fucking horrific pain. And so I have an answer to the question. Now you can ask me what hurt the most. And I'd be like, yeah, man, fucking fire angels.
Yeah, fire angels for sure, bro. You know, it's funny because you seem so happy before the prank went off. You're like, fire angels, let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you not do it, or would you do it again?
I mean, dude, that's the thing. Like, if I knew that was going to happen, it would be a really tough decision to go through with it. You know, thank God time doesn't operate that way where you can go back, because like, I mean, I wouldn't trade it for nothing. You know, let me show you right here the t-shirt that I was wearing. I'm gonna fucking break the fourth wall a little bit. Like, I was fucking wearing.
Nice.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's a prized possession right there.
Yeah, I remember when you stood up, the whole back of your ass was burned off like a comic book or some shit.
Yeah.
Another anecdote from Gnarly is that when you were protesting SeaWorld, you climbed up on this crane and were shooting off fireworks, and the city, the response was so insane. They sent like SWAT teams and like 20 officers and fire department and
80,
helicopters.
Yeah. 80 firefighters.
Why? I mean, what? And then a SWAT. Why would they send a SWAT team?
It's a really good question, man.
Like that doesn't even make any sense. Well,
it doesn't make any sense, but I mean, I think that the explanation is that because the crane was 150 feet up in the air, that it was impossible to tell who it was climbing up on that crane or why they were climbing up on that crane. And the backpack that I was wearing, you know, which had my inflatable killer whale and, you know, other, you know, my fireworks and stuff. Maybe I was some kind of a terrorist. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I guess the times were a little wild.
Yeah, it follows that it would have made some sense to do a little bit of investigation before deploying so many first responders. But, you know, what can I do? I can't second guess it. And I deserved all the trouble I got in for that. I legitimately felt fucking awful.
Well, my question is, I know they sent you a bill, so I was just wondering how much was the bill?
I approached it as my investment was in the attorney. You know, I think I I got like the most impressive attorney that I could get in that situation, and the attorney ended up costing more than the bill for the restitution.
Right.
Because I think that had it gone in front of like a trial jury, you know, and the obvious question that would, you know, require an answer is the very question that you just asked. Why the fuck did they need a SWAT team? What was the purpose in 80 firefighters? Like why the helicopter? Why all this? Like, you know, that was such an overblown, overkill response. And I think that when it came down to, you know, what's called arbitration, where they actually figure out like what should this asshole have to pay, I think that the overblown response would really be under the microscope. And so I'll go ahead and tell you, dude, I spent $20,000 on the lawyer, and he got the restitution at $14,000.
Damn, that's not bad.
It's not bad.
Yeah,
like you could argue,
I gotta say,
you could really argue that was fucking totally worth it, man. You know,
that's amazing. That's amazing work for $20,000 from that attorney too.
Yeah, and given how much fucking press there was, you know, like, you know, it's not press that looking back on it I'm particularly proud of. You know, it was fucking idiotic, even though. When and it was like there were rounds of press. There was when it happened, press all over the world. Then they fucking sentenced me to 30 days in jail, and that was headline city. The fact, like, Steve-O sentenced to 30 days in jail for fucking Shamu, you know, fucking protesting SeaWorld. It was a little bit of a fucking total score, but to anybody who really looked at what it was just so dumb. Doing it where I did it, it had nothing to do with SeaWorld, you know, like it was nowhere near SeaWorld. It was all the first responders. I was blowing up fireworks in Hollywood, like during a drought, like, you know, with the hell, it was an asshole move. And I was on probation for 3 years. I was on probation. And I had to do all kinds of community service. They let me do community service at animal shelters and for this Humane Society program where I went around underserved neighborhoods signing people up for free spay and neuter for their pets. So I was in fucking heaven with my community service.
That's great.
Yeah, it was killer.
You were sentenced
You
were sentenced to 30 days, but what did you serve? Like 5 hours? How did that happen?
8 hours.
8 hours.
Yeah, I was dude. They let me film turning myself to. I showed up at the fucking and then, dude. Thank God that I made my Gnarly special multimedia, because everything I talk about throughout the special, you actually see, you know, the footage of it cut in. And I think it worked so well. But I showed up at the fucking. What do you call it? The correctional facility, the Twin Towers jail, to turn myself in for my 30-day sentence. I climb up on the fucking correctional facility fucking sign and do a backflip off of it. Like, just like, yeah, here I am. I go in there and I'm like, here I am. I turn myself in. They let us film the whole fucking thing. Like how we went, how they weird. Like they let us film them handcuffing me and leading me into the fucking jail, which I cannot fucking believe. And then they basically took my picture and let me go. I mean, it was 8 hours from when I showed up at the jail to when I walked out of the jail. And the reason for that is two things. Overcrowding, you know, like they don't even want, I shouldn't say they don't want, they don't have room to keep anybody who's a non-violent offender. Basically, they're just, and then on top of that, there's no upside for the jail in having a high-profile inmate. There's just no upside. Like anything like bad happens, like they view it all as liability and downside. So yes, they let me out in fucking 8 hours, which to me was hilarious.
So what was the 8 hours like? What did you do in those 8 hours?
Mostly it's just being processed in. You know, like you're in a holding cell. You know, you're waiting for them to like get your fingerprints. And, you know, at one point, like, I was picking out a book I was going to read, you know, like.
Getting ready to settle in.
Yeah, they were. And, I knew as well that I was going to be in protective custody. That's what it's called when you're a high profile inmate. You know, they don't want fucking to deal with any bullshit of like you being attacked or anything. And so like, and from back in the day, it was my second experience in that same sort of high profile jail situation in the same facility, because when I was arrested for the other thing, and I was facing 8 years in prison, I showed up in there, and they pulled me out of my cell. I had just gotten my back tattoo, and they pulled me out of my cell to take pictures of me. They were giving me like boxes of cookies. This is back in 2002. They were like, "Oh, dude, you're all good here, man. Fucking, you know, like we call this Robert Downey Jr. unit." We call this the Robert Downey Jr. block, you know, and the cell you're in right now, that's ODB's cell. He's always in here, you know. And
just they're used to like treating the celebrities nicely.
I mean, I guess so, pretty much, man. They were really cool to me back in 2002, and they were super cool to me in whatever it was. It was December of 2015.
What did you almost go to jail for 8 years for?
Man, it was fucking awful. And, you know, this is in the Gnarly special where I talk about how I got arrested for stapling my balls to my leg. Right. But in fact, there were two charges. One was felony obscenity, because this was in Louisiana. And in Louisiana, there's not counties like there are in the States. There's parishes, and there's like sort of religious overtones, and like, you know, like the New Orleans is this wild Mardi Gras party out of control, but once you get outside of New Orleans, Louisiana's pretty fucking crazy in the way they operate. And I had a show outside of New Orleans in Louisiana in 2002, and during this show, a couple things happened. I stapled my ball sack to my leg, and as I did this, and this is with the old tour, which I promoted by saying, "I will be drunk and on drugs, or your money back."
Yeah.
Yeah, or your money back. And every show on stage, I would get drunk, fucking on stage pounding tequila out of the bottle. I would have audience members fucking chugging bottles of tequila. It was a fucking liability central shit show. And I was on drugs every time. And as I was covered in blood, like every show I was covered in blood. I was barfing all over the stage, like, because I would break a light bulb over my head and slash my tongue, so I was bleeding all over myself. This was every night. It was every fucking night, and I would staple my balls to my leg during the show. Like, I'd be set on fire. I'd be pissing into a cup, and I'd be like, "Who wants to drink my piss?" And people would be like, "Yeah." No. So I'd bring people out. Yeah, people would be jumping up and down. Who wants to get kicked in the nuts, dude? It was a fucked up circus, dude. And at one point, at the point that night in Louisiana, when I was stapling my balls to my leg, I just happened to say into the microphone, I said, "This is not art. This is strictly to be offensive." I don't even know why I said that, because it's totally art, you know? And somebody in the crowd was videotaping, right? Now, it wouldn't have been a big deal, like the stapling of the balls to my leg while I was covered in blood, saying that I was just trying to be offensive. But at another point in the show, that bottle of tequila that I mentioned, I had it sitting on the stage, like towards the front of the stage. And at one point, somebody kind of crawled up onto the stage and grabbed the bottle. Now, the bouncers noticed this happening. They fucking zipped over with lightning speed and fucking incredible efficiency and fucking got that bottle back from this person. I was impressed by the bouncers' response to this theft of my tequila bottle. These bouncers, as it would turn out, were football players for the local college team, which I think was a pretty successful college team. Well, in any case, these huge bouncers these huge bouncers impressed me. So I, just off the cuff, impromptu,
Yep.
I said to the crowd, these bouncers are fucking badass. Who wants to try to run across this stage past the bouncers?
Oh, God.
We'll call it British Bulldog, and they're ready to fuck somebody up. Who wants to try it? You know?
Down, the bouncers were all into it.
Yeah. They were down, man. They were super down, and everybody wants to do it. But this one kid was just jumping higher than everybody else. He was just all excited, and I just could see the kid's excitement. So I said, "You." The kid was like, very small. He was, I think, 19 years old. And I orchestrated the whole thing. So the kid lines up, and I said, I'm filming it. I said, "On your mark, go." Whatever. So the kid runs. It was pretty anticlimactic. The kid just ran right into the bouncers and they grabbed him, right? But as an afterthought, sort of, and clearly on the bouncer's own initiative, two of them together, they lifted this kid up in the air and fucking body slammed him on the stage.
Whoa.
And like they body slammed the kid like largely onto his head. And the kid was knocked out, unconscious. He was just twitching on the stage, unconscious.
Shit.
I think he was like bleeding out of his ear, it was a fucking pretty bad scene, man. It was a pretty bad scene. And the whole purpose of the clowns in the circus is for when somebody falls off the trapeze or whatever, the clowns are supposed to run in and divert attention. That was like the whole purpose of clowns, the show's got to go on. The clowns come in, be like, "Hey, we're good. Yeah, we're all, so I've got this like built in, the show must go on." And so, dude, the kid's twitching on the stage, and I say into the microphone, or whatever, the kid's being loaded into an ambulance at that point. And I go, "That kid's on a stretcher being loaded into an ambulance. Is that what we came here to see?" And everybody's like, "Yeah!" It was just not good. So the kid who... The person who was videotaping this performance was, felt like, okay, I've documented something with this camera that's probably like, and they gave it to the news. Then when they gave it to the news was like, "Oh, well, this isn't as much of a news story as a crime." And then the news passed the tape onto the city attorney, and the city attorney was like, "Oh, well, fuck this guy," and so they charged, and by the time the charges were filed, I was back in Los Angeles, and so they put me on the fugitive list, right? But here's the thing, that the fugitive, I landed at number 1 on the fugitive list by a mile, dude, because the fucking they set my bail for the charge of principal to second degree battery. It was a felony for orchestrating the thing where the kid got slammed on his head. And they set the bail for that at $200,000.
Wow.
Or was it $120,000? 1.12, $120,000, I think it was, or 1.2. Yeah, I don't know. Something like that. But they also charged me with felony obscenity for stapling my balls to my legs. It's the parish, and they're like,
How
this
is that
obscene.
a felony? A felony obscenity? I've never heard of such a charge.
Well, right. I mean, there have been notable charges. Jim Morrison was charged with felony obscenity in Florida, I think, for showing his wiener on stage. Lenny Bruce was charged with felony obscenity. 2 Live Crew was famously charged with felony obscenity. So that charge added me to the list of American heroes.
Fantastic. Yeah. And
right, and they set my bail for the obscenity charge at a full $1 million.
Jeez.
So I landed on the felony fugitive list with like 1.2 million or 1.12 million, I'm not sure which, dollar bail. And that's the highest bail. I was number 1 on the list. They scooped me up and took me to the LA correctional facility. And I want to mention too that that's like a little fucking morsel of this juicy ass book that I wrote, right? And I've got my book. Not only is it just a crazy book, but it's a really fucking great book as evidenced by the 5-star rating that it's maintained on Amazon, right? I love just this book is so beautiful and fucked up and crazy. And if you buy it from my website, stevo.com, every copy is personally autographed. And I love getting my book out there. I love to get my book out there, and my new Gnarly special. I love
you
that too. You
fulfill them directly. How is it you're able to sign each one?
I buy the books with an author discount. They get shipped to my house, sort of like if I was a store, like same thing as if I was a bookstore, and they ship the books to my house. When I say I don't personalize them. They shipped to my house, and I autograph I sign every copy. I sign. Dude, I spent a lot of time signing, and it's rad. I sign every copy, and then my dude brings the books to the UPS and ships them to our fulfillment house.
So, what is the name of the book?
Steve-O, Professional Idiot, a memoir.
Wow, beautiful, and that's on Amazon. I'm gonna buy that right now. I'm gonna buy it right after this.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy it on Amazon. I'd buy it from stevo.com so you could have it autographed. You want to have the autograph copy, but for you, my brother, I'll fucking make one out. Next time I see it, dude, I'll give you.
I would love that.
I'll give you a special one.
So here's what I'm going to encourage everybody listening to do: go to stevo.com, buy Gnarly for $10. It's going to be an absolutely mind-blowing hour special. And then when you're done
Zach, can Zach chime in again and just
Zach, do you have an endorsement for Gnarly?
My jaw was fucking dropped, and I've seen a lot of crazy shit in my 22 years of life. That is by far the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, Zach has been raving about the show behind the scenes. He has been.
Yeah,
I appreciate that so much, man. It sucks that we waited for so long for my triumphant return to the H3 podcast, but waiting that long, I really think. I think that we made another hit, dude.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I think we made another hit.
It's always a pleasure to listen. I mean, you're full of so many incredible stories, and such a great guy. I love having you on here. Gnarly, when you're done watching Gnarly, buy the book. Get it signed. Stevo.com is your one-stop shop for Stevo-related paraphernalia.
Yeah, dude. The book, you can actually use PayPal. It's super easy to check out. But, dude, the Gnarly special is so fucked up and full of fucking dick and grievous bodily harm and fucking graphic drug abuse and just criminal shit that if I put it out with PayPal, like, it wouldn't last 24 hours. It'd be shut down as pornography. Like, porn sites... Yeah, porn sites you can never use PayPal, and it was only before we went live with it. So one of us had this thought: I wonder if that gets if PayPal shuts it down, then they shut down the whole online operation. Then we can't sell anything. So we were like, oh shit, let's ask about this, and we did a little poking around, and it turns out that we had to have special bank approval with a special account at a bank which has, quote, an appetite for high-risk credit card transactions, which is what they call it.
Yeah, what bank has that appetite?
I want to say it's in Canada somewhere. But yeah, basically any like porn, like webcam girls, like more sketchy kind of CBD, like sort of dark web shit, and that is my explanation for why you have to do the. It's just fucking sketchy.
Wait, how do you pay for the?
Shit.
How do you pay for the thing? Because I had Dan buy it for me.
Yeah, you gotta put it in the. It's not that weird. You just have to actually plug in the credit card. And this is my explanation, my apology for not having a quicker, easier checkout. Is that the quicker, easier, PayPal, Amazon Pay, that type of thing would be more convenient, but those people don't like porn. Arguably bestiality when that rock hard fucking elk is butt fucking me.
So was there an act actually? Did he penetrate you?
No, I didn't have a hole in the costume I was wearing, but
There's a scene where an elk is fully torqued and humped, and it looked like
dick.
he was fucking you, dude.
Yeah,
But
it
I
was
was like,
really
wow,
thrusting.
Oh, yeah, because I was like, I'm not sure that you could legally show you
Right.
being penetrated by an animal, but you did.
Many PayPal would have called that problematic. That was the first thing and the only thing that really entered the conversation as, hey, this gotta go. And I said, fuck no. Keep looking for fucking banks. we're gonna find the fucking bank that's okay with that fucking rock hard elk butt fucking me.
I love the idea of someone at the bank being like, watching the whole special and then being like, we can do this.
Yeah, and then wait until the follow up, is ready. I'm gonna go to the same bank and we're like, okay, so now I'm actually fucking now it's me that's hard and I'm fucking coming everywhere and I gotta do that. But I think we're already in bed with the right partner, so
yeah, exactly. I think you are. I think you found your partner for life there.
Yeah,
well, Steve-O,
dude.
Congratulations. I'm so happy to see you doing well. You've got your podcast, you've got all your specials and everything, and all your charity work and everything. It's just so nice to see. And
dude, thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Man. I'm super happy.
Dude, likewise, man. I cannot tell you. I have told you, but I can't really, like, the frequency with which I've heard about. Dude, I heard you on the H3 podcast. Like the frequency of the dude, I saw that fucking you and H3. It's great, man. When are you gonna do it again? What's Ethan really like? I hear it a lot, and I'm just stoked that the world is the way it is. That people like us can kind of take the power of the media into our own hands. When I do certain podcasts, and I think I probably did this the last time I was on with you, I said, hey, because with podcasting, retention is a thing, and a lot of people don't stick around to the very end. We have the audience fall off, but it's the hardcore fucking dedicated fans who stick around to the very end. I always address them at the end of every episode of my podcast, Wild Ride with Steve-O. And I like to say, thank you for sticking around to the very end of this podcast. You guys are the ones that really matter the most. And I always ask that I call them the street team. I say, please take a screenshot of this podcast and post it with tags for me and my guests to let my guests know that you enjoyed it, and to kind of you made it all the way through, and that and to help me get the word out and build up this podcast. And that's why I call those people the street team. And so for the H3 street team, I want to ask you guys who made it all the way through to shoot me a tweet. Let me know that you made it all the way through.
Let's do something they can send, which is like yeah.
But we're gonna be putting it out with proper videos, so we're like,
Oh yeah, that one. Okay,
yeah.
so if you guys watched all the way through to the end, send this image to Steve-O. People will be like, what the fuck? There you go.
Yeah.
The real ones know. Only the real ones know.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, but it's something we should start up for you, man. The H3 Street Team.
I like it a lot, dude. I like it.
It's, dude, I don't know when this goes out, but as we recorded this, fucking fresh live on my podcast channel, I got Mike Tyson today.
Oh, I love Mike Tyson. He's such a fucking guy. That should be really fun.
It's a really fun one, man. I've been so fortunate with my guests, dude. Shaquille O'Neal, Mike.
The hell? Yeah. Your guest.
How the fuck did that happen,
list
dude?
is crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to.
But so's yours, man. Your guest list is epic.
Well, starting with you.
I don't know that I was that early on, but yeah, man, dude, it's a real pleasure to reconnect, dude. And,
I agree.
I want you to know that the cameras aside, I just really appreciate you, man.
Thank you, man. We've made some of my favorite content together. I mean, we were talking on the phone, you know, I don't think there's any other YouTube video where they've successfully cut somebody's nuts off and the video's still on YouTube. So we hold that distinction together.
Demonetized, but still there.
It's still there. That's what matters. Yeah, it's still there.
Yeah, dude. My YouTube channel is not big on monetization.
Oh, yeah. That's still there, right? Still there.
It's still there, dude. That's right. Have you got your diamond plaque yet? How far?
No. The thing is, we pivoted. We don't really post on the main channel anymore, so.
Right.
So, no, we're not on the diamond path.
Dude, I'm still fighting the fight, man. I'm on both channels, but I'm more regular with the podcasts.
Yeah.
In any case, I think we've what do you call it? Digressed.
Yeah, we've digressed.
We've digressed into personal conversation. We should leave the street team to their business, their hard work of promoting our shows.
Yes.
And they've got a gnarly comedy special to watch and a book to read.
Yeah, you guys should click off and get on that. I agree.
Yeah.
All right, Steve.
Awesome.
Take care, man. Appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you, brother.
All right.
Yeah.